Hi, doctor. I'm so glad that you came to my podcast and you accepted my invitation. Basically, I I'm really interested to know about your finding of that periodic tables of religions and your views about that and a short history of you. Can you just talk about those things?
Sure. Okay, nice to meet you, Aaron. It's great to see you there in Bangalore. It's a city I know and love well. I've been there several times. Um, so I'll introduce myself. I'll explain about the periodic table when I get to it, okay, in my talk, because it's quite important. Um, and I'm going to do a sort of overview of how I got interested in Tantra, what it means to me, more generally in philosophy of religion, okay? So I started out, I was brought up in Canada and then Britain, England. And I studied philosophy at university and things like this. I got very interested in my late teens in Buddhism and got very interested in Buddhist Tantra. I was influenced by Vajrayana Buddhism, particular teachers and lineages connected with, in Britain, the biggest Buddhist monastery here was founded by Chogyam Trungpa, who was a great Buddhist Tantric visionary, who taught the Shambhala wisdom of Tibet, which inspired me. I then went to Canada. I studied all world religions for many years as a philosopher. And I got very interested in for me, the core question at the heart of philosophy is what is enlightenment? How can we reach enlightenment? You can call it nirvana, moksha, theosis. It has different words in different languages, right? So I've also studied philosophy of language. I think we have to analyze the words we use. In Tantra, they have a realization that the mantric sound of the word carries an energy quality. If you can say the right words in the right sequence, it's a thing of great importance. Now, all religions say that. Jewish thinkers call that the Kabbalah. Sufi thinkers call that the Sufi permutation of letters. They have a name in Arabic. In the runic traditions of Norse sages in England and Norway, they do the same with their runes, which were taught them by Odin, the god of wisdom. So anyway, I discovered all this as a scholar, that there's one universal tradition. It has different names in different languages. We can call it Tantra, we can call it other things. In a sense, the Chinese are right. The Tao cannot be named. It's the Taoist knowledge as well. Anyway, this got me very interested in mystical experience, because Tantra is a direct path to mystical enlightenment. I took a vow as a bodhisattva this lifetime to reach enlightenment when I was 19 from a Tibetan Lama, and I'm still sticking to that. I'm going to reach full enlightenment this life. And not just for me, but for the benefit of all sentient beings. This is not just an ego thing. It's for everybody. That's you, all your friends, my friends, the whole planet, 7 billion of us. I think it's possible. I think it's possible because of new technology, because of people are much better educated now. In a strange way, the coronavirus makes us all stay home and study. We have great opportunities to reach enlightenment, see through the Maya dance. Anyway, so I think one of the things that's important is relationships. Different times in my life, I've been celibate deliberately as a student. Sometimes I've had a consort. I think you can learn a lot as a couple if you're fortunate to have a consort in your life. Sexuality and emotional love are a direct link to the God experience. And not just in Tantra, but in all world religions, Eros is a very powerful thing. But I think it's got to be channeled peacefully, ethically, no violence involved, mutual consent, all this stuff. Now, I call that a wisdom affair. I've written a book called Wisdom Affairs. I think we should have wisdom affairs instead of love affairs. So I've rebranded the idea of the love affair, which is chaotic and leads to jealousy and all that stuff. I say let's have wisdom affairs. and I've written a book about examples. So, okay, so then I came to the position that I call it the Metta Mahayana position. So the great vehicle, Mahayana Buddhism, but actually it exists in every different lineage. It's in Hinduism, it's in Jainism, it's in Islam, it's in Christianity. The great vehicle, if you look at this planet from, let's say, the center of the galaxy, which is a lot of light years away, and you look at this tiny little speck through a telescope, let's say you're in the grand galactic council of gods in the center of the galaxy, and you're saying, why isn't planet Earth enlightened yet? Why are they so slow? I don't think he's going to say, the gods are going to say, well, they're not all Hindu, they're not all Muslim yet, they're not all Christian. They're going to say, well, speed it up, get the Metta Mahayana teachers there, you know. And they're teaching universal tantra. That's where I'm coming from. I've taken initiation in many different religions. I've taken initiation in Christianity. I love Christ. He's a great teacher. Very great shame what happened to him, you know, like when teachers get attacked by the mob and crucified. And this happens all the time, great teachers. Osho seems to have been poisoned, killed, you know, great teachers get killed off. It's terrible. Anyway, I like Christ, and I discovered in Christianity a sort of tantric tradition. In the Rosicrucian, alchemical, esoteric Christian, Gnostic church, there's a tantric tradition kept alive, and that's really sacred. I'm working with the Mary Magdalene lineage in France. Mary Magdalene was the consort of Christ, probably. It's been airbrushed out of the Bible. You know, nobody talks about it. She's called a saint, but she was more than a saint. She was his consort, his tantric consort. So I've set up the Mary Magdalene Studies Association, and there are people in France working with that. I think that in paganism generally, tantra is more understandable. In the ancient wisdom traditions, you call it Hinduism in India, but in the Western world, we call it Druidry, for instance. The Celtic tribes had a philosophy just like the Hindu. We had a pantheon of gods and goddesses. We understood what is wisdom in nature. We worked with the elements, earth, air, fire, water, with astrology, with the stars, with magical practices and so on, exactly like in Hinduism. And this existed in ancient Europe, 1000 BC. These people were called the Druids, and they built Stonehenge, Avebury, and these other great megalithic sites using sacred architecture, like Hindus' temples are built with sacred architecture. So we use the same. And also in the Norse traditions, Odin and the runes, they're the same ancient wisdom. And Frey was the god of, or Ing was the god of Tantra. You know, these people knew about, obviously sexual energies are very sacred. And so teachings are passed down orally on how to respect and honor and work with that erotic energy in couples and so on. One of the people that's influenced me, a couple, Nick Douglas and Penny Slinger, wrote books about Tantra. They're pretty amazing. Sadly, he's dead now. Nick Douglas died. He wrote about the black hat traditions of Buddhism. And they studied Tantric teachings. You know, he wrote some great books. Also, I've taken initiation into Islam and Sufism. And I regard myself as a Sufi. I'm just finishing a commentary on the Quran. I've traveled in Islamic countries, and I love Islam. I love Muhammad. He's a very wise, amazing teacher. And I've gone through the Quran with great detail. I've received Sufi teachings from direct, lineage going back to Muhammad. And these people also know about Tantra. I mean, Muhammad was a master. He said we shouldn't be celibate, we should celebrate eros, but do it wisely. And in the Quran, there are teachings about, what is acceptable marriage. And the Quran and Islam love eros. They love the beauty of eros, but you have to do it wisely. Never, emotional trouble because it leads to chaos. And Muhammad himself had some trouble with his own wives. I've just done a commentary on the Quran there was one point when he had trouble with his own wives. It's really quite humorous, actually. So although he was a great master, he wasn't perfect. It's very difficult being in relationships sometimes. But in the Ishmaeli tradition, there were lots of wisdom about the Tantric origins. A lot of Buddhist influence came in. They believe in reincarnation as well in the Sufi traditions. Okay, so that's that. Then I've been invited to India about 10 times. I've given talks there. I know quite a few Indian teachers, gurus, spiritual elders. I've traveled all over. And most recently, I was invited by a Swami who has a base in Bangalore and Hyderabad and Chennai. He's a Hindu sage called Swami Chaturvedi. He's in the lineage of Ramanuja. He runs the Ramanuja Trust. And that's interesting to me because, as you know, Shankara, the great Advaita Vedantic teacher, spoke about the divine unity. We have to wake up out of Maya and reach Brahma and become enlightened. Ramanuja invented a criticism of that called Dvaita Vedanta. He says that's true, but also we should embrace duality because, yes, everything is God, but for now, I'm Thomas, you're Arun. This is a computer. We're differentiated into diversity. And we should accept that and celebrate that and work with it. And enlightenment is knowing that we're all God and yet enjoying the duality. So that's dual Vedanta. And my friend Swami Chaturvedi teaches in great detail the teachings of Ramanuja. And he and I and other colleagues, we've set up a thing called the World Intellectual Forum. We believe that ideas and intellectual work are so precious. We've both studied, and all the other people involved, as Russians, Americans involved. You know, if you study for 20, 40, 50 years the world's spiritual literature, you come to realize they're all the same. And you can talk to people of all religions with peace, you know. But why are all the followers fighting? Why are there armies fighting in wherever, all around the world? Like in Kashmir at the moment, the Chinese and the Hindus having to have battles, the Indian army and stuff. So we want to stop all that. We're a peace movement, the World Intellectual Forum, saying let's have conversations instead of battles. Let's sublimate aggression to a much more intellectual and intelligent work. And there's some very great thinkers on that platform. I'm the European coordinator for it. We have a world chairman who lives in Hyderabad, who, and you know, I mean, obviously they're not all tantrics. I mean, but I think Swami Chaturvedi knows everything there is about tantra. He's a very wise man, and many of his disciples and so on. Some of them are in Bangalore even. Okay, so the other thing to say is when I worked in academia. I'm also an academic, right? And to me, Plato was a great master as well. Plato founded academia in Greece. He was taught by Diotima through Socrates. He founded the academy dedicated to the 9 muses, who are the 9 goddesses of wisdom. And he taught philosophy, which is the love of wisdom. Now I also am an academic, and I taught and studied at the University of London and then the University of Oxford. Now I run the Global Green University from France. It's a global international university. But I've taught in London for many years, and I run an institute dealing with peace studies. Because as an academic, I think our duty as scholars, philosophers, tantrics, mystics is to bring peace on this planet. We can't get enlightenment until we get peace. Some deluded people think we can reach enlightenment if we have war. If we have a nuclear war, it'll be great. You know, idiots around Trump, these mad people think, let's have a nuclear war. No, this will be disastrous. The planet will be destroyed and we will fail the exam. We're going through a planetary exam at the moment. That's how I see it. And our duty is to stop the nuclear war potential, disarm the militaries of the planet, and convert them to peace lovers. There's not a single quarrel that can't be solved through meditation and mediation. These are the two M's that we need. So I'm sworn to, using academic work, intellectual work, teaching to convert the military of the planet, because they're using all the money. That's why everybody's poor. The military, including military intelligence, that are all spying on everybody, they're all creaming off all the money. This is wrong. It has to stop. I don't want anybody to go hungry today or to not have a home to sleep in. The military got all the money, including the Pentagon. So that's what our World Intellectual Forum and my Peace Institute, we're struggling to release the energy of love that's locked up in fear in this militarism. Okay, so, and for our friends in China, the Taoist Confucian tradition, I greatly respect. They have their own tantra. Taoism is among the most profound philosophies on the planet. Lao Tzu was a genius, a master. In dialectical materialism, which the Chinese Marxists follow, there is a secret teaching about Tantra. If you look at matter, like if you look at, detail matter, using dialectical materialism, you ultimately can find spirit. That's what gives dialectical material its name. And so I think that we can have conversations with Chinese philosophers and Marxists about peace and about Tantra and about dialectical materialism. I think it's very important. Likewise in Japan with the Shintoists. I've met Shinto intellectuals. The Japanese are unbelievably wise people. I love them. Again, they have this deep, deep wisdom. And they love, they have in Shintoism an equivalent of Tantra. They have a deep understanding of sexuality and beauty and love and eros and the gods. So most recently, I also published a book. I published a book on the periodic table of the world's religions, because I've also worked as a teacher in schools for 10 years in the UK with bright kids, trying to explain to them about religions. Now, most clever kids in Britain nowadays, they're very skeptical about religion. They say, oh, it's just faith. I don't believe in God. So I believe in science. So I listened to them and I said, okay, well, I've spent 30 years studying all the world's religions. I'm a scientist too, but I'm a scientist of religion. So I said, okay, I'm going to put this into a table. And I worked with a group of very bright students, and we created a periodic table like Mendeleev's table of the elements. And in 164 boxes, it explains all the world's religions in detail. So you've got all the pagan religions, all the Buddhist, the Hindu, the Jewish, and each one is broken down into categories. So for Hinduism, you have about 8 categories, Islam the same, and so on. And it's got details. So if you click on the website, it tells you exactly how many followers it's got, what its sacred texts are, and what it believes about virtues and things and values. So that's a scientific work to try and allow the people of the world to see how complex and amazing they are. Most of us don't realize we're stuck in our own culture. We're born a Christian or a Buddhist or a Hindu or whatever, and we think that's all there is. Now, because we have the internet, we're beginning to realize that's not true. And I've traveled in about 35 countries around the world. I've traveled and met people all over the world. I know how incredible this planet is. I've seen it. And how profound the religious teachings of mankind are. So we should all learn about them all. That's my position as an educator. And we should celebrate them all. And we should look for the common core, which I think is what Hindus call Tantra. It's what Buddhists call Tantra. It's the inner web of understanding the weaving of energies that makes everything possible. So more recently, I've written a book called Magical Peacemaking, a handbook for practitioners and theoreticians, because as a druid, I'm very interested in magic. As a tantric, I think magic is about creativity. And nobody yet has ever written a book on peace magic. There's lots of books on magic of love, magic of astrology, magic of numbers, magic of even books on magic and war, you know, warriors like magic. Nobody's written a book on peace magic. So I've done it. You know, I published it earlier this year. I'm very interested in how we can make peace using our magical skills, including astrology. What you're doing is very important. And so I've also proposed that we should write a book, or somebody, you know, I would like to work with someone that knows astrology, a book on the astrology of peace. Nobody's ever written it. It's not been done. This would cover things like great peace treaties when they were signed, how wars ended, and it would look at what is a propitious time to end a quarrel in the family, in the home, in the marriage, but also, you know, internationally. Like, when will China and India sign a proper peace treaty? It's long overdue. Well, let's find out. Look in the stars, you know. And the most recent thing I'm doing, because I'm very interested in science and the history of science, I've taught history of medicine at Oxford, and I'm working on a book on religion and mathematics. I think mathematics is very interesting. You can't do astrology without maths. You can't do astronomy. But I think there's a sacred maths that's been neglected. And there's a religious mathematics that we have to explore and discover. And so I'm writing the first ever book on religious mathematics, founding a new discipline, which I'm working on at the moment. It'll be published in a couple of months, I hope. I'll send you a free copy as a present. And for instance, there's a chapter on Hinduism and maths, one on Buddhism and so on. So that's a little glimpse of what I'm up to. And, you know, feel free to ask any questions or comments you want.
One question: how do you see life?
Well, it's a puzzle, a mystery, an adventure. Life is the physical atoms and forms that make organic life possible. So I look at it scientifically. I've written a book about what are eggs. What's the egg? It's called The Book of the Egg. You know, eggs are how we got here. Our mother's egg was fertilized by our father. So there's a biological answer to that question. What is life? But I think there's also a metaphysical answer, because I think it's the soul or the spirit that comes into the egg in the womb that is your consciousness. It grows into you, Aaron. You're thinking as I'm speaking. You have an awareness. So I think it's your spiritual identity which coexists in your physical material identity. And your soul, I think, has many incarnations. I believe in reincarnation. I think empirically that's the most likely. I've studied the question of near-death experiences and past life regressions and so on. It seems to me logical that the soul is nurtured over many lifetimes. And I think we're on a journey, all of us, through various life experiences to learn ethics. We all know when we're bullied at school, or when somebody says something horrible or steals some of our stuff. It feels bad. So we learn that, well, I'm not going to do that to other people because I don't like it. So we gradually learn to be good, righteous, and ethical people. We learn, you know, the skills that Yudhishthira shows by becoming ethical. He made one mistake. He gambled away his wife, you know, terrible catastrophe. So we shouldn't do that. You know, we have to not get drunk and gamble our wives away. And hopefully in his next life, he won't make the same mistake, you know. So I think life is for learning. It's a school for souls, as Keats, the poet, said.
So,
Yeah.
for instance, if one flower is given to you, you will see what you can learn from that particular flower. Is that what you mean?
Well, yes. I'll also appreciate its beauty aesthetically. I'm not going to cut it up and analyze it. I'll look at it and enjoy it. I think life is to be enjoyed. The scent of the flower, the pleasure of, you know, life is about beauty as well. And in my book on religious mathematics, you know, Sarasvati, the deity of wisdom, works to create creation with Brahma, to create a world of beauty. But she seeds it with complexity so that we have to use our minds to work it out. So we can understand, but also by loving, you can also understand there's a different kind of intuitive immediacy about loving.
So, for instance, for me, for like if a flower is brought to me, I'll try to see how the what is that flower is meant to me, like how long I can see this particular flower, whether will I pass away. The first question will come to me: this flower will disappear when I die. What is going to happen? So what is this particular flower meant to me? The molecules and all secondary, because whatever happening with the flower is like whatever it is, it doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe it is a lot of molecules came together and made that, and some atom, some color, some resonance, something, some reflection of the light or whatever. It's all these things doesn't make any sense to me, because it doesn't matter for me. I mean, this is how I start to think about this particular flower when it comes to me. uh, so learning happens there, because I study about because that resonate what is that happening in that particular flower to me. There is learning of course happens, uh, but that learning also doesn't make any sense to me, because it doesn't matter. Do you agree? I
Well, look, so what I don't understand about what you've said twice, it doesn't matter, right?
Mm.
And so what do you mean by that? It doesn't matter. What's the hint? What's the phrase in your language for that? What's your native tongue, by the way?
I got birth in Kerala. I'm in Malayalam.
Right.
From
Okay.
past 7 to 8 years, I'm speaking English. I mean, I work with
Okay. So
engineering. I write programs. I write code.
using English. Okay. So what is it doesn't matter in Malayalam? How do you say that?
Uh, doesn't matter. Hmm, nothing. I mean, ഒന്നുമില്ല. I mean,
Okay. Okay.
that doesn't. I mean, doesn't matter means, will it actually matter to me? For instance, how do I go into my house? I see it's a space which is filled with a body which is called my mother, filled with a body which is called my father. This is again a kind of identification which is being given to me by society. Basically, my mother is not my mother. It's just another being. My father is not my father. I mean, there is no mother, no father. It's just another being. So does it matter to me? I mean, at the end,
Okay.
it's not. It's
Would
nothing.
you apply that same it doesn't matter rule to everything? Like, let's say you go to look at the ocean, that doesn't matter. You look at the sun, that doesn't matter.
That is
What
how
is there anything that does matter in your philosophy? What matters?
I don't know. This is how I like to. This is the process which is happening inside me.
Hmm. So you're working through the what doesn't matter, hoping to find something that
Which
does matter.
matters? Yeah.
Okay.
Seeking.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. So then you should be looking for God. You should be looking for ultimate truth, for that which gives meaning and substance to everything. The Higgs boson particle in
So,
physics, they call it the God particle
yeah.
because it gives weight, it gives matter to everything, the Higgs boson particle. So
Mhm.
you're looking for the equivalent metaphysically, to find what gives real weight and substance and meaning to the world, and keep looking.
I'm just wondering, this pattern of thought is is normal, right?
I think one goes through a stage in one's youth. I went through a stage when I was younger. Nothing mattered. You know, I was a bit of an atheist. Every gods were stupid. Religion was ridiculous. People that believed in gods were just child. You know, I went through an arrogant phase, as one does in European intellectual history. Um, but then I went and worked in hospitals for 4 years with dying people. I heard people's spiritual journeys. I sat as people were dying of cancer. I listened to the soul speaking, and I had many little revelations from you know, and I learned about suffering, and I learned what is medicine and what is healing, and why it's important we should work to solve suffering. You know, and therefore I came to appreciate um, the medical profession and the healing profession, and that led me back to philosophy. Because to me, philosophy is like a doctor at a higher level of healing. Okay, so I don't know if ultimately, in cosmic terms, we can argue, does this planet matter? If this planet is destroyed in nuclear war, how does it matter given there's 1.5 trillion suns in this galaxy alone, and there's 2 trillion galaxies that we know about? So in mathematical terms, this planet doesn't matter that much if it self-destructs in nuclear war. However, as a doctor on the job, I'm a planetary healer. I would say the number of people who would die when Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs dropped, you know, tens of thousands died instantly, they were vaporized, but then tens of thousands died slowly in agony, their skin burned. They couldn't, their mouths were all, they couldn't even drink water. You know, they died screaming over many weeks, months, and years. And even now, there are people who've survived, hibakushas, who remember the dropping of the bomb. Now, that was just 2 bombs. If 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 go off, if Delhi, Beijing, London, Moscow, Washington, San Francisco all get nuclear bombs dropped on them, think of the number of people that would be dying in agony. Think of the pain it would cause. Well, I'm trying to stop that because I think that's my duty as a doctor of philosophy, to prevent that suffering. And so, yes, it does matter to me because I love people, I love life. I'm a professional trained in medicine and healing and philosophy to prevent suffering. And you know, so I think that you need to go and work with some dying people or suffering people, and you'd realize life does matter. It's precious, and your parents, you know, should be very, you should be very grateful that they've given you this opportunity to live and have this life incarnation
Yeah,
to learn a little more wisdom.
yeah, I understand that they are giving me opportunity and they're nice peoples also. I mean, I can just appreciate that. More than that, I can't. But what I thought about love also, I understood in this way. Like, love is something like it will give us, it will make us grounded, and it will make us a feeling of belonging. Like, I done this something to this person, and that person going good in his life, and he will appreciate. For instance, I'm saving, I'm trying to, uh, maybe I'm spending half an hour with a cancer patient, and he is just, his mind is becoming calm and he is cool, and he is saying, yeah, uh, Arun was good, he done this much as this many things to me, and it gives me a happiness. It gives me like a sense of belonging, but when even I am thinking about that particular feeling which I am getting, what I feel is like, does it again matter?
Well, you know, you have to think that one through yourself. You know, I mean, it does matter, but There are different levels. I mean, it's a confusing phrase in English because to say, does something matter? It means, what is the matter with it? Matter is the word for stuff, substance, prakriti, matter. Yeah.
Hmm.
So does prakriti matter? Purusha surely is what matters. It's the spirit that matters. And I think this feeling of, well, nothing matters, I think what is going on is your spirit is saying, where am I? What's all this world
Yeah,
thing? Why
I
does it
feel
matter?
I'm alienated actually. I feel like myself I'm an alien. It's like
You've just dropped in, you don't quite know what's going on. Yeah, I know the feeling. Yeah. Um, yeah, so that's typical of the sort of French intellectual tradition. That's Camus and Sartre. The French existentialists, they start from that place of that feeling of, does anything matter? Why is it all here? That's the beginning of French philosophy. Um, and then one comes to a place of, I will act as if it does matter. I will pursue an ethical path, even though maybe there's no God and I don't have to, because I'm free to choose the good. That was what Camus said, right? And so in pursuing ethics and goodness, you realize you can create your own meaning. We're
yeah, that
co-creating the world, right? And by pursuing a path of goodness and love and enlightenment, by helping people with your astrology and your software and your work, you're giving service, you're co-creating a world of enlightenment together. And that matters because that's you then are creating what matters. You're putting into space and time your own energy to help co-create the world. And if we all do that in goodwill, good faith, we all give service to each other in whatever ways and roles we can, then we can create a better world, And I'm a great optimist. I think we can do that. I think we fail as a planet if this world self-destructs and blows up. We're all going to be in detention for about 1,000,000 kalpas. Okay? Does that make sense?
yeah. So I have to look on French what is that? French philosophies.
French philosophy. Yeah. Existentialism. I'm speaking from France.
Okay.
It's a very interesting tradition. Also, a man called Shestov. He was Russian, but he ended up in France. Great existentialist. They faced the void of, if there's no God, because science had been very clever saying, explaining God away, there's no spiritual stuff, there's just matter. And then, so what does anything mean? Why are we here if we're just a bunch of atoms? And Shestov and these people, they looked at the deep story of what's going on. And they came back into a realization that there has to be a spiritual essence behind everything for it to have meaning. And then what is that? So that's when one can look at the sacred scriptures, look at the Vedas, look at the Tantras, look at the sutras, the Quran, and so on.
So that is where I actually started looking at on astrology, Vedas, and Tantra and things like that, because other kind of philosophy is actually making no sense at all, like non-dual philosophy. I mean, Advaita Vedanta, which Shankara says, these and all not making any sense, because like I'm becoming a celibate and going into Himalaya and just meditating there, where I'm just becoming like nothing. I'm not doing anything good for the society. I'm not working for society. I'm not even empowering anybody. I'm just left and gone. That is like
Yeah.
non-duality principles, like Shankara's Advaita Vedanta. um, so that is where I started to think about Tantra. Like Tantra has actually some use. At least I'm at least true to myself. Like I'm accepting. sexuality is the part of me, drugs is the part of me,
Mm.
and enjoyment is part of me, not enjoyment is part of me. That is where I actually started to learn about tantra, because when I am seeing all this philosophy, something which is actually goes with the life is like tantric philosophy, because
Sure.
this philosophy has something to do with the life, and the astrology is like it's actually helpful, like for a
Yeah. Yeah.
samsari being a very layman terms. It's like this is something which give them, because they don't have a thought process of what matters. They don't think about what is that mattering. They
Mm.
they where they are, it's matter to them. For them the family matters, for them the father matters, for them the son
Mm.
matters, the relationship matters. For them, astrology is a science where they will feel a sense of completion, like um, it gives them a
Mm.
direction, like a subjective understanding, like they can
Yeah.
let themselves
It's
with
a
the,
map.
yeah, yeah,
Gives them a map. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Can I
that is
ask you a question about astrology? I'm interested in this question. I've never found an astrologer can answer it properly, right? I would like to develop a new astrology,
mm-hmm,
which is based not on the moment of birth. Most natal astrology is the moment you're born.
mm-hmm,
I'd like to develop one on the moment you're conceived,
mm-hmm,
which is 9 months before normally.
mm-hmm.
And I'd like us to become more conscious of when we conceive as a human beings.
There is
So if people were more conscious.
in astrology
Have you ever
people.
come across that?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
There is something called the Bhavam chart. It's like 6 months before birth and 6 months after birth. So we will adjust a 15-degree. So it will give
Yeah.
6 months after birth and 6 months back birth. That is called the Bhavam
Right.
chart in Vedic astrology. So this put
Okay.
together, we will make a sense of like. So basically, just the natal chart won't give the accurate understanding. It's like we have to look at on the bhavam chart to give accurate sense to the guy who is into samsara, which is lost.
Right. Right. But why not do it 9 months before? Because that's the moment of conception. Why not 9 months before?
Yeah, that also can be done. Bhavam chart we can adjust a little bit, and planetary position will change 9 months back and 9 months after. I will definitely want to do that. I'll do that. I mean, I can
That
come
would
up
be
with
good.
I can come up with a chart which is 9 months back and 9 months after also.
Hmm.
So
That would be good.
what is that? It's three together is meaning. Like we can
Hmm.
come across like that, and there is something called people are building something called uh, what is that? There is I Ching, astrology, and all these things put together. They build something like human design.
Human descent.
Human design.
Oh,
However,
design. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
they
Okay. And that's using the I Ching, did you say? The Chinese text.
they put everything together and they came up. But
Hmm.
mm, so, however, whatever, but we can look. I can make this thing like 9 months back and
The
9 months.
9 months thing. That'd be good. Yeah. I've got another question now about astrology for you, right?
Mm-hmm,
Because I've known lots of astrologers. And what I've been told, if I go to an astrologer and they do my chart
mm-hmm,
and they tell me I was born on the 8th of May, so I'm in Taurus in
mm-hmm.
Western astrology. It's the same in India, I think.
No, no, no,
So I'm
no.
born
There
in,
Western astrology and Indian astrology with the 23-degree difference is there. It's because of the reason Earth is like tilted, little tilted
yes.
Earth. Yeah, but actually Western has taken in this way. They are not
Ah,
thinking earth is tilted, but in Vedic astrology it is tilted. So what
so
happens is
you
like,
make it more accurate. Yeah.
this is And what happens is like there it means that there is if sun in Aries in Indian astrology, it will be in
Yeah,
for instance, sun is in Taurus in Vedic astrology, sun will be in Aries in Western astrology. So there is a difference. So this is because
right.
of the
Yeah.
tilting of the earth.
Okay, so that was going to be my question, which is why are the Western astrologers so stupid? Why haven't they kept
No,
up with
it's
the
not
changes?
stupid. It's not stupid. Like the thing is like what I saw is like Western is more about body, and in Asian religions is more about spiritual, like Buddhism, Jainism, and Taoism and Hinduism, things like that. They are more about spiritual. But in while coming to the Western, it's more about
Hmm.
body. So I think that might be, but it is not wrong. Western astrology is not wrong. Indian astrology is not
But
wrong.
I mean, well, I mean, surely it's wrong. If I, at the moment of my birth,
Mm-hmm.
I'm born in Montreal, right? 8th of May, more 2:45 in the afternoon. So, but let's say it was at night, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if my father had looked out of the window at the sky, and I'm in Taurus, it was May, right?
Mm-hmm.
What should I see? What does it mean to say I'm born in Taurus? Does it mean that the bull is coming up over the horizon, or what? Just talk me through the absolute basics. I want to know what I see in the sky that makes it a Taurus. Or let's say I'm born in Delhi or Bangalore,
Mm-hmm.
and you tell me I'm born with the Taurus sign.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean in terms of astronomy? Does it mean it's at the middle of the sky or the middle or the horizon or what?
So basically, it is a direction like north, east, south, west. Yeah, I have sent you a chart. No, can you open that? There is the
Right.
there is you. Where is that? Yeah. Uh, So there is boxes you can see. Did you saw that boxes?
I haven't looked at the chart yet, but I mean I can see it in my mind. I don't need to look at it. All I want to know is what's happening in the actual sky at the moment of birth. Where is the, you know, at the
So you
exact
got
moment I'm born
you got a birth on particular time. And that time, where was the moon? So basically, these
in the sky.
boxes you can see. Uh, you want me to share the screen? I can share you the screen.
Yeah, yeah, if you've got it there.
Uh,
So it's showing where is the moon, where is the sun,
yeah.
where is everything.
Can you see? Can you see now?
No, you'll have to. Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, you can see, right? So here is a box.
Okay, yes,
Here is a box, right?
yes,
Here is a box, and what does it means like it's just direction. So this is north, east, south, west, like that is just direction.
yeah,
So this direction is being again further divided into 12 equal parts, so 30-degree each.
right,
So this is ascendant, this is where you get birth.
yes,
So at this particular time, what was in this area, that is going to be your nakshatra. There will be a group of stars in this particular direction. Just means that
right.
is a direction. So
And the
this,
ascendant is the eastern horizon, isn't it? That's what's coming up in the east at dawn.
yeah.
Right. Mm.
So what was there in this particular area? This there will be a group of stars.
Okay.
Okay, there will be group of stars, that is 27 of them are there around this around this. Okay, there are 27 of them are there around this. So at this particular time, this horizon will be having a group of stars.
Mm.
That is your
Fine.
birth nakshatra.
And where's my sun? Which direction is that?
This is the
The
sun.
sun is up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
first house.
Okay, and that's in Mesha. That's the Aries, right?
Yeah, Mesha.
That's the Ram.
Huh. So this is we take this as first house, ascendant as the first house.
Right.
From there we will count first house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, sixth house, seventh house, eighth house, like that.
Okay.
So we can actually go through what is that means actually. So for instance, in your first house, like this is ascendant is the Tanu Bhava, then Dhana. Each direction will be having one name. Tanu means your quality,
Right.
your being, what you being.
Okay.
Dhana means what you will gain.
Okay.
Sagacha means what you have.
Mhm.
Bendhu means relative. So, for instance, here the fourth house there is Saturn and Rahu is staying, which means that your Bendhu, your relative, that is Saturn and Rahu. So the Rahu is the planet which is associated with occult power, and Saturn is the planet which is been associated with the hard work. So it means that
Mm.
you have you might be blessed with is like a blueprint. It's not like exact thing like this is what
Mm.
it is. So this is like you are blessed with hard work and occult power. If you
Mm.
see in your life, this might
Okay.
be a probability.
Well, I've worked very hard at esoteric philosophy all my life, so that's probably that one. Yeah. Mm.
So
Mm.
Saturn and Rahu comes together. That is what it is, Bandhu. Then Mars. Mars is Ari. Ari means is your enemy.
Okay.
What does it means?
Well,
Uh,
Mars, yeah, war is my enemy, so that's pretty accurate. Yeah, I'm at war with war as a peace act. Mm.
Sorry, what is that?
Well, I'm at war with war. I'm a peace activist, so if Mars is my enemy, that's fine.
Ah. So, what is that Mars means to you? What you understand by Mars? I mean, I don't know everything. I mean, whatever I know.
Mm. Well,
What is that?
Mars is the planet of the military, isn't it? Militarism, war,
Mm-hmm.
um, soldiering one, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
at opposite. So if Ari is the enemy
Hmm.
house, then that's perfect. Yeah,
Then there is Sun and Moon, which is staying on Dharma house. Dharma means your what is that being assigned to you. I mean, nobody is assigning what is that particular planet will tell you to do. Um, Dharma, moksha is a Dharma.
yeah. Dharma is very important to me. Obviously, I try and live by Dharma, so
So
it's my
Dharma,
my
can you
best
translate that into English? What is that Dharma means in English?
cosmic law.
Ah,
Cosmic law.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I try and live by Dharma,
So
and the word Druid comes from that. Mm.
sun and moon is staying on that particular house. What does it mean? That um, your father and mother, that is being somehow is related to the work you do, like something like you have to do something to your father, some vows you have been taken which is been not
Yeah,
filled, and which is not been promised, something which is been promised which is not been fulfilled, that is related to your father and mother.
sure. Well, I'm carrying on with their good work. They were peace activists, so I'm finishing off what they started. Mm.
So in karma bhava there is Mercury and Ketu is staying. um, so Ketu. So Mercury is the planet which is been associated with the speech,
Yeah, intellect
intellect. So
and
that is your
communication.
karma.
Mm. Well, that's good because I'm a teacher and a lecturer and stuff. So
You are an intellectual.
yeah, so that's my karma. Mm.
So Labha is Venus. What you gain out of that, that is your, what is the return you get. So Venus is associated with the, is the most blessed planet, Venus actually. So when Venus comes into the particular area of life, he will be get blessed with whatever a human can get, like sex, drugs, and all these materialistic pleasures, which somebody is wishing for. That
And what's laba? What's laba again?
that is your gain.
Oh, the gain. Okay, okay. So, well, Venus is the goddess to me.
Yeah,
Um,
the Venus is
goddess,
basically,
I call
if
it.
we see the Christian mythology, the Venus is associated with the, the Lucifer actually.
Yeah, but that's a dualistic framework. I'm a Gnostic Christian. We like Venus. We don't
Yeah.
have problems. That's different.
Now, the thing is like Christianity is teaching so many, all this blessing they are seeing it as sin, like sex they are seeing it as a sin. The whatever the
Yeah.
blessings which human beings can accumulate, and dance songs, even the Muhammadan religions, they are seeing, not all the, apart from the Sufis, but as
Hmm.
per my understanding, apart from Sufis, they are seeing this as sin, like all the blessings what. But that is why I like tantra more, like tantra is
Sure.
accepting it as it is, and tantra is like, um that is what it is.
Accepting life. Yeah. Yeah, I think the Christians, some of the Muslims, they misunderstood the teachings and they misheard. You know, it's naughty students didn't do their homework. I think. So we have to re-educate them. They need to be re-educated in joy and in love. What's this one? Jupiter's in Vyaya. What's Vyaya?
Yeah, yeah. They are, Vyaya is the moksha, the liberation, final house. So this is
That's
associated with Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet which is associated with the wisdom and knowledge. So what does it means is like, you know, your moksha marga is the way of jnana yoga, jnana yoga, na.
yeah. I'm a Jnana Yoga. Yeah.
So that is your moksha marga.
Right.
So these
Excellent. Well, this is quite accurate. Yeah,
so these are
it's
the
good.
things which this Vedic astrology, and see, we have a concept. See, this is what I am speaking about, the this chart, bhavam chart. This is
Okay.
6 months before your birth and 6 months after your. This is after your birth. So how do I calculate? Is like I take the time of birth and 6 months after the birth, and then I combine these together and make try to come into a conclusion. That is what I do.
Okay. No, that's very interesting. And I will look at it with interest. Yeah, I haven't had time. I've been busy all day writing.
Okay.
But thanks for that. That's very exciting. Hmm. And you use the square system. It's rather good, isn't it? Do you do this by computer? I mean, how do you work out the
So
positions?
this thing, there are no softwares to create this one. This is my finding. Like I looked at on this thing and studied, and I found out this is in this way we can calculate.
Okay.
Uh, the
Excellent.
this is actually software generated. This one,
The brown one.
the
Yeah,
brown
that one.
one, that
Yeah.
is software generated.
Okay. Right. Okay. Well, and what about the idea of an astrology of peace? Can you look up dates in history and tell me why? I mean, that's sort of looking at um, you know events and how they manifest astrologically. Have you ever done that kind of astrology?
Uh, Pardon?
Have you ever looked at events in history
Mm-hmm.
and analyzed the astrology, not just births. I mean, you've done a birth chart here,
I
but
have
if you were to look at the historical event,
one event I have observed is the now we are going through the COVID situation, right? So I have
yes,
made an analysis of that. It is there is a Vedic system of chart reading which is called Ashtavargam calculation. I have made a calculation about that, and I made a video also. I can share with you that what is going to happen in another 5 years, like what is going
blimey,
on, what is.
right? Yeah, no, I'd be interested in that. Yeah,
So I also done that that particular thing I have calculated a month ago before the COVID. That was in it was happened in Tiruvannamalai in Mantra Cafe. There was a cafe called Mantra Cafe that is from a US guru. His name is Adida Maharaj, Adida Samraj. You know Adida.
okay. I've been to Tiruvannamalai, where Ramana Maharshi was.
Yeah, Ramana Maharshi was.
I've, I've been there. Yeah, yeah, I love it.
So
I've
again,
been in the temple. Hmm.
you know that Adidam, he's from US. That one teacher is from US. Adida Samraj.
And he lives there.
No, no, he got samadhi.
Did was he called? Gosh, he had various names. He wrote lots of books, like The
Yeah, yeah,
Body
yeah,
and
exactly.
Enlightenment.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Adi Da. Yeah, I know him. Yeah, I've got loads of his books.
Yeah, he got
Yeah,
a cafe there that is in Tiruvannamalai. It's the mantra.
right. Okay. What he founded it there, did he?
I mean, his followers is doing that.
Oh, right. And you were sitting there and you did a birth chart. Is that what you're telling
Yeah,
me?
and that I done the calculation that what is gonna happen for another 5 years for India, Russia, China, and USA.
And what's going to happen?
That
Good
is the
news?
good news and bad news mixed together. There is no it is non-duality. There is nothing called a good.
Well, I understand there's going to be a mixture, but it could be preponderance of good or bad. I mean,
Yeah.
how many more people are going to die, do you think? This is the thing.
Sorry.
Like a lot of people are dying from this disease, right?
Yeah.
How many more are going to die? Is it going to be cured?
I don't know. I'd never done that calculation. I'll share you this video. I'll send you in chat. I mean, I'll send you
Okay.
mail. Then
Yeah, I'd love to see that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, I don't know if you can do these things, but um, I want to know if this COVID we're all dying from is caused by man-made research in a laboratory that leaked by mistake, or was it just an accident of nature, a freak from some bats, you know? And I'm trying to get governments to investigate that. Under the United Nations, there's a thing called the Bioweapons Convention, which means that governments should be able to go into any lab and say, show us your logbooks, did you make this virus? And I've written to various officials, and I've even written to the people in Pune. The Indian Institute of Virology is in
mm-hmm,
Pune.
mm-hmm,
They have the expertise. You know, I wrote to them and asked them, is this man-made or not? And I've written to various other scientific bodies.
mm-hmm.
I think we humans have the right to know. You know, are we dying in millions because of bats or because of war? Um, so I think it's quite important we keep that question going. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't suppose you can use astrology to do spying, can you? Do you know how to do spying?
Uh, it is possible. I mean, I have to go through because I have a lineage, a tantric lineage, where people believed we are black magicians. Like this is our occupation. We called us Ganakas in Kerala. So we, my father does astrology, my grandfather does astrology, my great grandfather does astrology, like that.
You have certain psychic abilities that you can link. Yeah.
So
Oh,
the
you have occult powers.
So I have to look at on the books. Like, is there any method to do it?
Yeah, if you can find out for me using astrology whether this is man-made or was it an accident of bats, I'd love to know. And I'll give you that question to try and resolve.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important. Yeah. I mean, the thing is with esoteric philosophy, like Tantra, I when I was talking earlier, if you go very deeply into it, you know, normal people don't understand. In England, one of our great scientists was a man called John Dee. He lived at the time of Queen Elizabeth I, and it's her birthday today, by the way. My Queen Elizabeth I lived back in the days of Shakespeare. She was the patron of Shakespeare, and this man John Dee was her astrologer. So he did for her, the Queen, what you're doing now. And the mob said he was a black magician.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was good at mathematics and science, and he wrote about geometry, and he could talk to the spirits. He was a medium, and so they called him a black magician. And when he went to Europe, they burst in and stole his library. It's comes with the trade of being a savant. You get accused of being a black magician, so I wouldn't take it personally. It just comes with the trade, you know. Have to rise above it and stay 1 foot ahead of the mob, you know.
Yeah.
Well, nice to talk to you. Do you have any final questions before I go? I've got some work to get back to, but if you've
Um.
got a final,
So, like, if we need to continue this relationship, what can be done? Like,
well, we can always keep in touch. You know, you can send me the odd email, and you know, we could have the odd chat. I'm not going anywhere. I'm on lockdown in France. I I'm running this Institute for Peace Studies,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always been fascinated by astrology and the astronomy of it, the questions I was asking. So I'm sure we can next time we chat. Maybe you'll have some more questions for me, and I'll ask you a few more. Um, and I'll find time to look at my chart. You know that you've done kindly. I'll try and understand it.
Yeah, if you have any questions related to your chat, you can ask me.
Yeah, excellent,
And
good. And
I use some cards also. This is Crowley Tarot.
yeah, I know those. Yeah,
Aleister Crowley.
they're
I go through most of the tarots out there, but this is resonating more with my energy. I mean, I can.
yeah. He was a great magician. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was a bit of a tantric. Was old Alistair.
yeah. That's what my
He
understanding.
wrote.
That if he was a great tantric, which got birth into West actually. If he was in India, he could be a tantric guru.
Sure. Yeah. 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 I mean, we all swap lives around, and some of us get bored in India, some get bored in England or Canada. You know, it's all the same work. This is what I mean about Meta Mahayana. We're all working for global enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the work of Ken Wilber? Have
Don't
you
know.
come across a philosopher called Ken Wilber? Look him up. He's quite a good thinker. He's
Can?
been trying to link Eastern and Western thought. um, yeah, quite an advanced thinker. He just happens to have been born in America.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And
And
have
I
you studied at university? Did you do a degree ever?
sorry.
Have you ever been to university yet? Did you
Yeah,
study
I done
at university?
engineering in computer science.
Right. But you didn't do any philosophy.
No.
Okay, well, you can study that privately then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, excellent.
Thank you, Doctor.
Right. Well, nice to talk to you. Keep smiling. Keep working away. Keep turning the world
Does it matter?
lights.
Does it matter?
Well, yeah, you'll find out it does matter. And every little bit of enlightenment you can bring, it matters. So when you give people readings or help them, it matters. From a relative perspective, does it matter from an ultimate cosmic perspective? Probably, but in a slightly different way. Yeah, I'm also a poet, so I write poetry about these paradoxes.
Mm-hmm.
In poetry, you can express what really matters, whereas in prose, it's not so easy. I'll send you a couple of my poems so you can, look
Yeah.
at them.
And
And Crowley,
yeah, philosophy. About the philosophy, I lived with philosophers. Like there is something called the East West University of Brahma Vidya. It's been started by Nadaraja Guru. He was the student of Sri Narayana Guru. So there is one branch in Bangalore. There is somebody called Margaret. She was the direct disciple of Nadaraja Guru. So I lived with her almost 4 years there. So we basically
oh, wow.
speaking all about the philosophy, Guru's philosophy, things like that. So non-duality, and yeah, she taught me a lot of things in philosophy, basically.
Okay, that's very exciting, yeah. And Sai Baba lived near Bangalore, didn't he? Did you ever meet Sai Baba?
No, no, never met.
He was a philosopher too.
Mm-hmm.
He taught. I went to see him once in Bangalore. I
Mm-hmm.
went to his ashram in many years ago. Yeah, he was a great philosopher too, I think. Mm. Excellent. Well, keep it up. India seems to be vibrantly still alive. And look up my friend Swami Chaturvedi. When he's next in Bangalore, I'll put you two together.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he would. I'm sure you'd like him.
Mm-hmm.
He speaks many languages, Malayalam and Tamil and all the kinds of languages,
Mm-hmm.
as well as Sanskrit and English. Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, nice to see you. Shalom, as they say. And namaste. Bless you, Aaron. Keep smiling. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.